I can't take it anymore. My sister-in-law's behavior has gotten so strange that I'm seriously considering not even going to my brother's wedding because of her. My brother, who's 27, is getting married to Lena, who's 25. Lena doesn't have much of a family, so my family really tried to make her feel welcome, to make her feel like part of our own. At first, I didn't mind her, she seemed alright during the few times we crossed paths. But then, things started to get weird. I live 5 hours away from my family because I work as Rita's personal nurse. Rita's 98 and I've been looking after her for years. I also have to juggle studying for a second degree, so my free time is pretty much non-existent. The first time I met Lena was almost 2 years ago. She came up to me at a family gathering and said, "Everyone always talks about you at every family reunion and asks about you. I really wanted to meet you." I thought that was nice, so I made small talk with her. Afterward, I went over to chat with my aunts, but every time I tried to talk to someone, Lena would pop into the conversation. Even if it was a private one. At first, I thought she was just trying to fit in, so I included her in the discussions, even though it felt a little uncomfortable. But after that, it just didn't stop. Every time I was having a conversation with anyone at any family gathering, Lena would insert herself, even when it wasn't necessary. I would still try to include her, but it was getting harder to do so without feeling like she was overstepping. Then they announced their engagement, and that's when everything started to fall apart. They had planned to announce it at a party, but I had to leave urgently because Rita had fallen in the bathtub. My brother understood, of course, and he took me aside, just the two of us, to share the news before I left. I congratulated him and gave him a hug, but right as we were having this intimate moment, Lena ruined it. She complained that the firstborn of the family, me, should be there for the announcement. I just ignored her, and my brother explained that I had to leave. I've been taking care of Rita since before I even graduated, and she has always trusted me to look after her. She's like a third grandmother to me. After her fall, she broke her hip, and her health rapidly deteriorated. Now, it's just me and Rita's great-granddaughter taking care of her. My mom also helps out when she can, but Rita doesn't like being touched by hospital nurses. She has a deep fear of strangers touching her because of trauma from her childhood. A few months ago, Lena went out with the women of the family to try on wedding dresses, and one of my cousins told me that Lena kept complaining about me not being there. But the thing is, Rita was sick, and I was taking care of her. Lena knew this, but a few weeks later, on my mother's birthday, I invited her to join us for a brunch. It was supposed to be a mother-daughter outing, like it always is, but Lena insisted on coming along. My mom wasn't thrilled about it, but we included her anyway. There were many situations like this, where Lena would push herself into family events, even when I was being kind to her. The final straw came yesterday. Rita passed away 3 days ago, and not only am I grieving, but so is my whole family. Everyone knew her. She was a kind and strong woman. Rita wanted to be cremated, and her wish was to have her ashes buried in the cottage where she grew up. Her great-granddaughter had arranged a trip for us to go bury the ashes next week, just the two of us. I told my family about it, and my mom said she wanted to join us, too. But when Lena found out, she completely lost it. She started complaining that we were going on a trip 2 days before the wedding. I had totally forgotten about the wedding and just didn't have the energy to care. My mom tried to explain that we would only be gone for a day, to bury Rita's ashes, and would return the night before the wedding. But Lena just kept on complaining. That's when I snapped. She told me that I was prioritizing a woman who wasn't even my blood over her, someone who's going to be my brother's wife and the mother of my future nieces and nephews. She said I should care more about her because she's going to be my real family. That's when I lost it. I told Lena that Rita was like family to me, and Lena wasn't even a friend to me. I told her that, if it weren't for my brother, I wouldn't even try to get along with her. Maybe I was harsh, but I was just so sad and angry. Lena tried to argue with me, and then she started crying, saying that all she wanted was to be family. She kept saying how much she wanted to be included, but I felt like she was completely crossing my boundaries. She didn't even offer her condolences when Rita passed away. Instead, she just kept talking about the wedding. While I was busy making funeral arrangements, Lena was only focused on the wedding. Now, I'm questioning whether I even want to go to the wedding at all. I love my brother, and he even chose my bridesmaid dress. But after everything that's happened, I don't know if I can bear being around Lena. I'm considering cutting ties with her entirely because her behavior has been too much to handle. I'm devastated. I lost the woman I considered my guide for the past 5 years, the woman whose wisdom helped me get through so much. And now, I feel guilty for not wanting to go to my brother's wedding, for making him feel sad. But at this point, I just can't deal with Lena anymore. I know that the next time I see her, I'll probably fight with her again if she keeps crossing these lines. I just want to be left alone to grieve. But instead, I'm dealing with all this emotional chaos. Does anyone even understand why I feel like this? It feels like there's no room left for me to breathe. I'm drowning in all the things I've been forced to absorb, every new comment, every uninvited thought. At first, I tried to be understanding, to open my heart to Lena, knowing how hard her life had been without a family. But can I really keep offering empathy when none has ever been returned? Why am I expected to pour out everything I have when she only drains me, leaving me empty? The last thing I need right now is this constant chaos. Grieving is already hard enough, but this? It feels like a betrayal. Like there's no space for my pain to exist. How can anyone be so insensitive? To claim that I cried more for someone who wasn't even close to me than for my own grandfather, that was a slap in the face. How could she think that was okay? No one has the right to make that comparison, not after everything we've been through. Not after the grief I'm still carrying. Then there are the whispers, the things Lena says when she thinks no one is listening. My mother mentioned Lena often says she's more of a daughter to her than I am. Imagine hearing that from someone who's barely a part of our family. It doesn't sit right. My mother, who has always been open about her discomfort with physical affection, has tried to explain to Lena, over and over, how anxious it makes her. But does Lena care? No! She continues, ignoring everything my mother said, pushing boundaries, invading space without a second thought. My father, he's never been fond of Lena. And now, I finally get it. He told me about a conversation he had with her last year, how she casually mentioned, "Your second daughter knows you better than your first." Laughing it off, he brushed it aside, but I can feel his frustration building. It's clear now. My brother, who has been caught in the middle of all this, is exhausted. I can see it in his face, the weariness that has settled into him over the past few months. How can you keep caring for someone who doesn't even seem to understand what it means to truly belong? And the more I try to make sense of Lena's actions, the less it adds up. The contradictions are maddening. She pushes for a family, yet speaks ill of the ones who try to embrace her. This isn't about me anymore. It's about my family, the ones who have loved me and accepted me for who I am, not for the role they want me to play. And yet, despite all the effort we've made to help Lena, to include her, she keeps pushing us further away. How long can we be expected to keep up the facade of understanding, to keep giving when she just keeps taking? I can't keep doing this. Not now, not when I'm still reeling from Rita's death. How can someone who never even met Rita speak so callously about her? It sickens me. Every time my brother tried to help Lena understand, to make her see how much Rita meant to us, she turned her back, cold and indifferent. How could anyone be so heartless? I told my brother, setting boundaries is not about pushing her away. It's about protecting ourselves, about making sure we can live together without this constant tension. But my father, he doesn't want to lose anyone. He doesn't want the family to fall apart. And I understand that. I do. But at what cost? The truth is, I'm so tired. So incredibly tired. My brother's wedding is coming, and I can't focus on anything else. But I won't let this ruin it. I'll show up, for him. I just wish I could find peace, just a moment where I'm not fighting with myself over what to do next. I'm not sure what comes next. I don't know how long I can keep trying to be the good sister, the one who never causes a scene. But Lena, she's making it impossible to keep pretending. She doesn't respect any boundaries. And no matter how hard we try, it seems like she never will. I'll have to step back. It's not what I want, but it's the only thing I can do for now. I just need time to heal. Time to stop feeling like I'm walking on eggshells, like every word I speak is wrong. I need to find my footing again. I just don't know how much longer I can keep pretending that everything's okay. And now, the wedding looms. It's supposed to be a time of joy. But all I can feel is the weight of this mess, the pressure to pretend like we're all one big happy family. I can't do it anymore. Not when the truth is far messier than any of us are willing to admit. The update? My brother knows everything. And he's just as tired as I am. But what can we do? It's his relationship, his decision. My father tried to talk to him, but he's stuck between his love for Lena and the strain she's placed on all of us. And yet, in the end, it's his choice. I won't push him. I won't make him feel like he has to pick sides. But I'll be here. I'll support him in whatever way I can. But I won't keep quiet. Not anymore. This situation is broken beyond repair. It's just a matter of time before everything falls apart. And so, I will wait. Wait for a moment of peace, wait for the right time to speak the truth. Until then, I'll keep my silence. But I won't be silent forever. Living with the weight of a past filled with traumas and unresolved childhood issues is never simple. She doesn't know what healthy boundaries are, and now that she's been made aware of them, she has no interest in respecting them. But the hardest part? We can't approach her with aggression. Why? Because she's not mentally well. My brother, he's been caught in this web, but don't dare blame him if you haven't walked in his shoes. He's the one enduring a toxic relationship, not the villain here. He's just a victim. Why is he still marrying this woman, people ask? How could he even consider it after all the disrespect she's shown his family? All we can do for him, for now, is show him support. Maybe one day, when he sees things more clearly, he'll have the strength to walk away from it all. I don't understand it either. Maybe he's still too in love. But right now, the best I can do is stand by him. I'm not ready to talk to Lena. Not right now. Mentally, I'm just not there. Someone commented, suggesting that perhaps the family should gently express their concern about the way she treats him. We tried. My mother asked him outright, "Is this a toxic relationship?" His response? Silence. He just said he wanted to help her. But I've seen this before. I've watched friends go through it, clinging to love, not willing to acknowledge the toxic hold they were under. I feel like a fool. Why didn't I see the signs earlier? But, to be fair, I haven't been around the family much lately. Another comment hit me differently. Why doesn't your family draw a line? Why doesn't someone tell Lena that her hurtful words have no place here? It was hard to swallow, but the truth is, they're right. We've been too lenient, too patient because of Lena's difficult childhood. But none of us knew just how deep the issues ran. We've told her time and time again that her comments are out of line. Even my brother tried to talk to her about it, but with no success. It's like talking to a wall. She gets defensive, angry. She's had fights with one of my cousins who dared to set boundaries. Our biggest mistake? We didn't draw hard lines with her early on. We let pity cloud our judgment. I've let her words slide, too, thinking that maybe it was better to stay quiet than to hurt my brother. It's the same reason my mother holds back when Lena hugs her. Then came another comment, suggesting we've been too kind to her for too long. That by tolerating this behavior, we're doing him a disservice. And I can't argue with that. My brother is heading down a path that could lead to a marriage with someone who's not well mentally, and the whole family has been pretending everything's fine. He hasn't seen the signs. He's blind to them, and we're still pretending that all is well. But I don't keep pretending. We've had those talks with him. We've told him, in no uncertain terms, that marrying Lena is a mistake. The only thing I haven't told him is that I'm ready to cut off contact with her. I didn't want to make him feel pressured or manipulated. He knows about her behavior. He's tired of it too. But what can I do if he refuses to see reality? You can't force someone out of an abusive relationship, no matter how obvious the signs are. It's been a while since I posted. The weight of all this stress has taken a toll on me. The comments? They only made things worse. But some people have been asking for an update, worried about everything. Sometimes, I just need to vent. First things first, I want to make one thing clear: my brother is an adult. We can advise him, but the decision is ultimately his. When I wrote that second post, I was overwhelmed with anxiety. I didn't know how much those revelations would shake my understanding of things. It changed everything. As for the wedding, it went ahead, despite all the warnings. My father made it crystal clear to my brother that he disapproved of the marriage. He didn't even attend the ceremony. And since that day, my brother hasn't spoken to anyone in the family, except my mother. But even my mother refuses to have Lena in her house, which complicates things further. We all voiced our concerns. We all told my brother why marrying Lena was a terrible decision, but he went ahead with it anyway. And even though I think he's making a mistake, he's still my brother. I believe that one day, he'll see things for what they are. He knows he can come to me, whenever he needs to. But I'm so tired of hearing people say, "You should have done X, or your family should have kicked her out right away." Just stop. Life isn't that simple. I have my own issues, just like everyone else in the family. We all have our own struggles. We've tried to be kind, to keep the peace. We were trying to be understanding of someone who's had a complicated past. It's hard when you grow up in a healthy family environment, and then you're suddenly confronted with someone who's not well. But sometimes, you can't just sweep things under the rug. I'm not responsible for Lena's life. I can't fix everything. And no, she's not dangerous. She's strange, yes, but not dangerous. But my father did say something that really stood out. My brother confessed to him that Lena feels jealous of me. Apparently, she thinks our relationship is weird. That my brother and I, who've always been close, are crossing some line. But I've never felt that way. I'm close with all my siblings. We lie in the same bed to watch TV, play video games, and, yes, sometimes we hug. It's just how we are. And it's not weird. But Lena? She doesn't get it. According to my brother, Lena gets jealous when he spends time alone with me. She doesn't understand how siblings can have that kind of bond. But, at the same time, she wants to be close to me too. And the more I hear about it, the more I realize just how much tension there is between them. Lena's obsession with my brother is something else entirely. She's so desperate to be the focus of his world that she can't stand any form of competition, even if it's something as innocent as my relationship with him. It's as if she can't comprehend the concept of healthy boundaries, and that's where the problem begins. My father, who could see it all too clearly, tried to confront my brother about it. The conversation escalated quickly, and it ended with my father making it clear he wouldn't attend the wedding. My brother was furious, but that was a decision he had to make. I couldn't go either. Instead, I chose to retreat, stay away, and grieve in silence at Rita's house. It wasn't the wedding drama I wanted to focus on. The situation unfolded in ways I didn't even want to imagine. My mother? She did everything in her power to avoid the topic. She knew how we all felt, but she couldn't bring herself to address it. And me? I didn't ask any questions. I couldn't bear the thought of getting involved in that circus. So I distanced myself. People kept asking for updates. And I'm sorry, but I can't give you the sensational story you were hoping for. No, Lena isn't locked up for impersonating me, nor is she my long-lost twin. The truth is as dull, painful, and simple as it always seemed. Lena managed to drive a wedge between my brother and the rest of the family, cutting off all contact with us. We all tried. We tried so hard, but at the end of the day, he chose her. Now, with my mind a bit clearer, I realize I have to let him live his life. He's an adult, and while my heart aches for him, especially knowing he's in such a toxic relationship, I can't make his decisions for him. My mother said it best, we've done everything we can. He's made his choice. And now, it's up to him to figure it out. The worst part is not understanding Lena's motivations. Does she hate me? Does she want to be me? Does she even like me? I'm still lost in this fog. We've confronted my brother, tried to convince him to turn away from her, but in the end, he's always chosen to defend her. He even confessed to my father that he'd been hiding a lot about Lena. And the moment I tried to put boundaries in place with her, I knew what was coming next. She got defensive. She didn't just refuse to listen, she got angry. It was the same story for my father, my other brother, anyone who tried to get through to her. Lena's behavior, it's like she lives in her own world, and nothing we say can change her perception. The only way my mother has any contact with her now is so she can keep in touch with my brother. It's a tangled web, and honestly, it's draining. But as much as it hurts, as much as I wish we could fix it, I have to accept that this is his decision, not mine. In the comments, people tell me to protect myself, to look out for my own mental health. They say my brother may realize the truth in time, once the distance between him and the family grows. Maybe, they say, he'll understand. Maybe, when the first grandchild arrives, the cracks will start to show. But even that's a possibility I don't know if I can trust. My brother's not interested in having biological children. Adoption is nearly impossible where we live. So, I doubt children are even on the horizon. It's a bittersweet thought, knowing that my brother and Lena may never have children. But then again, who am I to say what their future holds? Someone commented asking if Lena might have anxious attachment disorder. Maybe they're onto something. From what I've observed, she seems fixated on being the center of attention, not just in my mother's life, but in my brother's too. She wants to be his number one, his favorite person, no matter the cost. My brother said her family is toxic addicts, he called them. And that explains a lot. Perhaps that's where this need for control stems from. But then again, it's a sad truth. She has no real family ties. And maybe that's what drives her to latch on so tightly to him. I don't know if things will ever change. All I know is I can't force him to see what we all see. For now, I'm stepping back. My brother has to find his way, no matter how much it hurts to watch.